Welcome to Daily Conversation. This is Mr. K.
This is Eric.
Yeah, today is the 10th of July 2021 and the time now is 6:17 a.m. Well, today is a reading session and we are going to read the book Atomic Habit. So before we get started, please click the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Alright, so here we go. Okay, so we start from line 923, right? Hello?
Yeah,
Okay. How long does it actually take to form a new habit? Habit formation is the process by which a behavior becomes progressively more automatic through repetition. The more you repeat an activity, the more the structure of your brain changes to become efficient at that activity. Neuroscientists call this long-term potentiation, which refers to the strengthening of connections between neurons in the brain based on recent patterns of activity. With each repetition, cell-to-cell signaling improves and the neural connections tighten. First described by neuropsychologist Donald Herb in 1949, this phenomenon is commonly known as Herb's law. Neurons that fire together wire together.
last second line. I think the
Okay.
name Donald Head is
Yeah. Donald Hab. Yeah, Hab.
creating a habit. Patients in cerebellum critical for physical movement by plugging beta strings, pulling or violin, grow larger than is in non-fiction. Mathematicians, meanwhile, increase gray matter, the inferior parietal lobe, which plays a key role in computations and calculations. Its size is directly correlated with the amount of time spent in the field. Older and more experienced mathematicians, the greater the increase in gray matter.
Okay. One, two, three. Fourth line. Okay, the this one is uh lobule and you pronounce as lobo.
Okay, labial.
Yeah, lobule. When scientists analyzed the brains of taxi drivers in London, they found that the hippocampus, a region of the brain involved in spatial memory, was significantly larger in their subjects than in non-taxi drivers. Even more fascinating, the hippocampus decreased in size when a driver retired. Like the muscles of the body responding to regular weight training, particular regions of the brain adapt as they are used and atrophy as they are abandoned.
About the hippocampus, how do you pronounce it? You pronounce hippocampus, but the stress is on the third
Yeah.
uh, It's on the campus. So
Yeah.
yeah, based on your based on your previous pronunciation, is it
Mhm.
pronounced hippocampus instead of hippocampus?
Yeah, because there is the second stress, right, before the first syllable. So, yeah, maybe I didn't um stress enough at the third syllable, but at the first we can also stress a little bit, isn't it?
How to pronounce it? Can you pronounce again?
Hippocampus.
Yeah, but just now you pronounce hippocampus.
Yeah, so maybe yeah, just now I didn't pronounce well.
Oh,
Yeah, so it is hippocampus. Okay, so the stress must be stronger than the first, right?
mm.
Okay, yeah.
Of course, the importance of repetition in establishing habits was recognized long before neuroscientists began talking around. In 1860, the English philosopher George H. Lewis noted in learning to speak a new language, to play on a musical instrument, or to perform unaccustomed movements, great difficulty is felt because the channel through which each sensation has to pass has not become established. But no sooner has frequent repetitions halfway than this difficulty vanishes. These actions become so automatic that they can be performed while the mind is otherwise engaged. Both common sense and scientific evidence agree repetitions is a form of change.
Okay, the second line from the bottom, the last word, yeah, you pronounce as evidence. Yeah, but here I think it's evidence. So the second syllable,
Okay.
evidence.
Okay, I think this is evident.
Oh,
Yeah,
so it's
because
E.
I searched from others.
Mm,
I searched from others. Wait a minute. Can you
okay.
see it? Hmm. It's evident.
Okay, yeah, right. Yeah, sometimes our phonetic symbols like to put the thing the symbol to this E, right?
Yeah, yeah, it,
Mm,
it to the
some, right.
mm.
Yeah.
This is IPA. I couldn't find the Americans the Americans what is it called the
The
the DJ, is it called DJ or
oh, I'm not sure. And
pronunciation?
uh and also one more I came across a term which is called schwa sounds. I'm not sure whether they try to make it to schwa sounds.
No, because this is IPA. This is International Phonetic. Uh, okay, I'm not sure the difference, but if you check
Mm,
IPA and then if you check IPA and then you type like English, I
yeah.
think they'll give you the full. Okay, this is International Phonetic Alphabet.
Oh.
Yeah, because these documents and this phonetic is actually generated by Python. It's not it's not I doing one by one. I
Mhm.
run Python and 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 just spend like about 5 minutes, 10 minutes to generate
Yeah.
one phonetic symbol. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's possible for me to copy one by one,
Mm-mm.
do that. Mm,
Yeah. Yeah. That saves us a lot of time already.
mm.
All right, so let us continue the next line, 9 to 8.
Is it start from you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Each time you repeat an action, you are activating a particular neural circuit associated with that habit. This means that simply putting in your reps is one of the most critical steps you can take to encoding a new habit. It is why the students who took tons of photos improved their skill while those who merely theorized about perfect photos did not. One group engaged in active practice, the other in passive learning. One in action, the other in motion.
All habits follow a similar trajectory from effortful practice to automatic behavior, a process known as automatic cities. Automatic cities is the ability to perform a behavior without thinking about each step, which occurs when the non-conscious mind takes over.
It looks something like this. The habit line, figure 11. In the beginning, point A, a habit requires a good deal of effort and concentration to perform. After a few repetitions, point B, it gets easier, but still requires some conscious attention. With enough practice, point C, the habit becomes more automatic than conscious. Beyond these thresholds, the habit can be done more or less without thinking. A new habit has been formed.
On the following page, you see what this looks like when researchers track the level of automatic cities for an actual habits like walking for 10 minutes each day. The shape of this chart, while scientists call learning curve, reveals an important rule about behavior change. Habits form based on frequency, not time.
Walking 10 minutes per day. Figure 12. This graph shows someone who built the habit of walking for 10 minutes after breakfast each day. Notice that as the repetitions increase, so does automaticity, until the behavior is as easy and automatic as it can be.
One of the most common questions I hear is, how long does it take to build a new habit? But what people really should be asking is, how many does it take to form a new habit? That's this, how many repetitions are required to make habit automatic?
There is nothing magical about time passing with regard to habit formation. It doesn't matter if it's been 21 days or 30 days or 300 days. What matters is the rate at which you perform the behavior. You could do something twice in 30 days or 200 times. It's the frequency that makes the difference. Your current habits have been internalized over the course of hundreds, if not thousands, of repetitions. New habits require the same level of frequency. You need to string together enough successful attempts until the behavior is firmly embedded in your mind and you cross the habit line.
The last slide, the first page, I think is
Oh, the first syllable, right?
yeah, you are right. I think you are right. It's in habit,
Oh,
embedded. Yeah, it's
okay.
in, not end. Okay.
Okay.
In practice, it doesn't really matter how long it takes for habit to become automatic. What matters is that you take the actions you need to take to make progress. Whether an action is fully automatic is or less important.
Second line, from here I think the pronunciation is at the stress is at the first syllable.
Mm,
So maybe it's progress instead of progress.
to make progress.
Yeah. To build a habit, you need to practice it. And the most effective way to make practice happen is to adhere to the third law of behavior change. Make it easy. The chapters that follow will show you how to do exactly that.
With the summary, the third law of behavior change is make it easy. The most active form of learning is practice, not planning. Not planning. Focus on taking actions, not being emotions. Information is the process by which a behavior becomes progressively more automatic through repetition. The amount of time you have been performing a habit is not as important as the number of times you have performed it.
The law of least effort. In his winning book, Guns, Germs, and Steel, and
Anthropology,
oh, anthropologist and biologist Jared Diamond points out a simple fact: different continents have different shapes. At first glance, this statement seems rather obvious and unimportant, but it turns out to have a profound impact on human behavior.
the last second line, the skin shape. At first glance, I think
Oh,
this is pronounced glance, not glance.
okay. Glance, glance.
Primary axis of the Americas runs from north to south. That is, the landmass of north, the land, the landmass of North and South America tends to be pale and thin rather than white and fat. The same is generally true for Africa. Meanwhile, the landmass that makes up Europe, Asia, and the Middle East is the opposite. This massive stretch, this massive stretch of land tends to be more east-west in shape. According to Diamond, this difference in shape played a significant role in the spread of agriculture over the centuries.
When agriculture began to spread around the globe, farmers had an easier time expanding along east-west routes than along north-south ones. This is because locations along the same latitude generally share similar climates, amounts of sunlight and rainfall, and changes in season. These factors allowed farmers in Europe and Asia to domesticate a few crops and grow them along the entire stretch of land from France to China.
The shape of human behavior. Figure 13. The primary axis of Europe and Asia is east-west. The primary axis of the Americas and Africa is north-south. This leads to a wider range of climates up and down the Americas than across Europe and Asia. As a result, culture spread nearly twice as fast across Europe and Asia than it did elsewhere. The behavior of farmers, even across hundreds of thousands of years, was constrained by the amount of frictions in the environment.
By comparison, the climate varies greatly when traveling from north to south. Just imagine how different the weather is in Florida compared to Canada. You can be the most talent you can be the most talented farmer in the world, but it won't help you to grow Florida oranges in the Canadian winter. Snow is a poor substitute for soil. In order to spread crops along north-south routes, farmers would need to find and domesticate new plants whenever the climate changed.
As a result, culture spread 2 to 3 times faster across Asia and Europe than it did up and down America. Over the span of centuries, this small difference has a very big impact. Increased food production allowed for more rapid population growth. With more people, these cultures were able to build stronger armies and were better equipped to develop new technologies. The changes started out small, a crop, a crop that spreads slightly farther, a population that grew slightly faster, but compounded into substantial differences over time.
The spread of agriculture provides an example of the third law of behavior change on a global scale. Conventional wisdom holds that motivation is the key to habit change. Maybe if you really wanted it, you'd actually do it. But the truth is, our real motivation is to be lazy and to do what is convenient. And despite what the latest productivity bestseller will tell you, that this is a smart strategy, not a dumb one.
Energy is precious, and the brain is wired to conserve it whenever possible. It's human nature to follow the law of least effort, which states that when deciding between two similar options, people will naturally gravitate towards the options that requires the least amount of work. For example, expanding your farms to the east where you can grow the same crop rather than heading north where the climate is different. Of all possible actions we could take, the one that is realized is the one that delivers the most value for the least effort. You are motivated to do what's easy.
Every action requires a certain amount of energy. The more energy required, the less likely it is to occur. If your goal is to do 100 push-ups per day, that's a lot of energy. In the beginning, when you're motivated and excited, you can muster the strength to get started. But after a few days, such as a massive effort, feels exhausting. Meanwhile, sticking to the habit of doing one push-up per day requires almost no energy to get started. And the less energy a habit requires, the more likely it is to occur.
Last three lines.
Oh,
This is such a, no, you pronounce such as.
oh, okay. Such a massive.
Look at any behavior that fills up much of your life, you see that it can be performed at very low levels of motivations. Habits like scrolling on our phone, checking emails, and watching television steal so much of our time because they can be performed almost without effort. They are remarkably convenient.
In a sense, every habit is just an obstacle to getting what you really want. Dieting is an obstacle to getting fit. Meditation is an obstacle to feeling calm. Journaling is an obstacle to thinking clearly. You don't actually want the habit itself. What you really want is the outcome the habit delivers. The greater the greater the obstacle, that is, the more difficult the habit, the more friction there is between you and your desired end state. This is why it is crucial to make your habits so easy that you will do them even when you don't feel like it. If you can make your good habits more convenient, you'll be more likely to follow through on them.
But what about all the moments when we seem to do the opposite? If we are all too lazy, then how do you explain people accomplishing hard things like raising a child or starting a business or climbing Mount Everest?
Certainly, you are capable of doing very hard things. The problem is that some days you feel like doing the hard work and some days you feel like giving in. On the tough days, it's crucial to have as many things working in your favor as possible so that you can overcome the challenges life naturally throws your way. The less friction you face, the, e- the easier it is for your stronger self to emerge. The idea behind Make It Easy is not to only do easy things. The idea is to make it as easy as possible in the moment to do things that pay off in the long run.
How to achieve more with less effort? Imagine you are holding a garden hose that is bent in the middle. Some water can flow through, but not very much. You want to increase the rate at which water passes through the hose. You have two options. The first option is to crank up the valve to force more water out. The second option is to simply remove the bend in the hose and let water flow through naturally.
Trying to pump up your motivation to stick with a hard habit is like trying to force water through a bent hose. You can do it, but it requires a lot of effort and increases the tension in your life. Meanwhile, making your habits simple and easy is like removing the band in the hose. Rather than trying to overcome the friction in your life, you reduce it.
One of the most effective ways to reduce the frictions associated with your habits is to practice environment design. In Chapter 6, we discuss, we discuss environment design as a method for making cues more obvious. We can also optimize the environments to make actions easier. For example, in deciding where to practice new habits, it's best to choose a place There's already along the path of your daily routine. Habits are easier to build when they fit into the flow of your life. You're more likely to go to gym this on your way to work because stopping doesn't add much friction to your lifestyle. By comparison, if the gym is off the path of your normal commute, even by just a few blocks, now you're going to out of your way to get there.
Perhaps even more effective is reducing the friction within your home or office. Too often, we try to start habits in high friction environments. We try to follow a strict diet while we are out to dinner with friends. We try to write a book in a chaotic household. We try to concentrate while using a smartphone filled with distractions. It doesn't have to be this way. We can remove the points of friction that holds us back. This is precisely what electronics manufacturers in Japan began to do in the 1970s.
An article published in the New Yorker titled "Better All the Time, James Zero Wikis Right." Japanese firms emphasized what came to be known as lean production, relentlessly looking to remove waste of all kinds from the production process without redesigning workspace, workspaces, so workers didn't have to waste time twisting and turning to reach their tool. The result was that Japanese factories were more efficient and Japanese products were more reliable than American ones. In 1974, service calls for Americans made color televisions were 5 times as common as for Japanese television. By 1979, it took American workers 3 times as long to assemble their set.
Okay, fourth line. Fourth line, let me check. Uh, yeah, this is a noun form of uh, this word, so it is the stress is at the first syllable. Product, products.
Japanese product.
Yeah, and you pronounce as products.
Oh,
I like to refer to these strategy as addition by subtraction. The Japanese companies looked for every point of friction in the manufacturing process and elim- eliminated it. As they subtract waste effort, they added customers and revenue. Similarly, when we remove the points of friction that sap our time and energy, we can achieve more with less effort. This is one reason tidying up can feel so good. We are simultaneously moving forward and lightening the cognitive load our environment places on us.
to look at the most high-performing product, you'll notice that one of the things these goods and services do best is remove little bit of friction from your life. Meal delivery services reduce the frictions of shopping for groceries. Dating apps reduce the frictions of making social introductions. Ride-sharing services reduce the frictions of getting across town. Text messaging reduces the frictions of sending a letter in the mail.
like a Japanese television manufacturer redesigning their workspace to reduce waste motion. Successful companies design their products to automate, eliminate, or simplify as many steps as possible. They reduce the number of fields on each form. They pare down the number of clicks required to create an account. They deliver their products with easy-to-understand directions or ask their customers to make fewer choices.
Yeah, one question to ask you.
Hmm.
Have you often heard some people say the product service or the product service? Maybe you listen from the
Product
podcast,
service,
listen from other
product
people
service.
talking.
Okay, if they say, if there is an N between, I mean AND, N, between these two words, I think it's products and services.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that is the one I heard in my memory.
So you heard people often say the product and service.
Products and services.
Oh, okay. Mm. By my memory, I
Mm,
quite often hear people say the product and service. Yeah,
product and
it seems
service.
like it seems like uh, they are not always focused on the stress
Oh,
because it's impossible for us to keep focus on stress and to speak well every sentence and vocate. Is it like this?
um,
So they kind of find they kind of follow the quote unquote the law of least effort to say out
mm-mm.
the sentence.
Yeah, 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 it could be.
When the first voice activated speakers were released, products like Google Home, Amazon's Echo, and Apple HomePod. I asked a friend what he liked about the product he had purchased. He said it was just easier to say play some country music than to pull out his phone, open the music app, and pick a playlist. Of course, just a few years earlier, having unlimited access to music to your pocket was a remarkably frictionless behavior compared to driving to the store and buying a CD. Business is a never-ending quest to deliver the same results. It's an easier action.
Yeah, last four words is in, it's not is.
Oh, result.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then actually third line, for this word I also pronounce it wrong uh, many times in my life, and uh, this one should be purchase, purchased. The stress should be the first syllable, and then the second syllables is not chase, it's chase. Purchase.
Okay. Purchase.
Yeah. Similar strategies have been used effectively by governments. When the British government wanted to increase tax collection rates, they switched from sending citizens to a web page where the tax form could be downloaded to linking directly to the form. Reducing that one step in the process increased the response rate from 19.2% to 23.4%. For a country like the United Kingdom, those percentage points represent represent millions in tax revenue.
The central idea is to create an environment where doing the right thing is as easy as possible. Much of the battle of building better habits comes down finding ways to reduce the frictions associated with our good habits and increase the frictions associated with our bad ones.
Yeah. Okay, so this is where I read until.
Mm,
All right, so how about I make a summary?
okay.
Okay, so firstly, they mention about the importance of repetition to do something. It means that to practice instead of um, to make it perfect. Just do it. It is the key. Yeah, and then it also says something like our brain structure will change, and then every time we do something, every time we repeat an action, uh, the neural circuits in our brain will respond, and then something like they will uh, have a cycle. Yeah, and then yeah, so this is the first part, and then after that also have something like the habit line, which tell us that also is still the focus on the repetition. Um, the more time we perform a thing, and then it become more automatic. I think this means that we do the thing automatically, and also without without having much conscious to do it. Yeah, we already get used to doing it, and then we just do it. We don't something like to think whether we want to do it. And also, yeah, previously, long ago, I have a thought that I need to do something for 21 days. Yeah, I don't know where I saw those methods that told us uh, to determine to do something, and then for 21 days, and then we can form a new habit. And yeah, for here, it make an explanation for this. 21 days is not the magical number. It is not the true. And what's important is the frequency, because in these 21 days we can do as many times as we want. We can also do just uh, one times a day. So the frequency is not is the key instead of the times, instead of the length of days or what. And then yeah, also it talk about something like the law of least effort. And we all of us naturally we are if you want to call it lazy. And because in our brain we will find a way which is we only need uh, to use least effort, and then we can do the things. So that this makes sense when we talk about forming a new habit. Every time we want to form a new habit, and then uh, we can do it at the first few times because we have the motivation, we have the willpower um, at the beginning. And it also mentioned in the book that sometimes it is uh, I forgot about the terms they use, something like the bad days or what. Uh, Maybe the day you really don't feel like doing that things, and then maybe you stop doing it. And then yeah, what we need to pay attention is if we can, we try to we try to make the action as easy as possible, especially when it is a new habit to be formed. Yeah, because if we don't make it as easy as possible, maybe just one or two times um, skip. Uh, I mean, we skip one or two times, maybe will affect the whole habit forming. Yeah, so if we can, we need to make it uh, easy until we will also do, even we don't feel like to do it. Yeah, and then next it also mentioned about the importance of environmental design, the design of environment, and yeah, they give the example which is uh, the countries, the continents, and then the agricultures, how the environment affect their result. Yeah, and then um, after that, uh, after that, mm, yeah, I think yeah, this is my summary. Yeah.
Yeah. And for different sections,
Mm,
I think the author want to let us know about the habits is as uh, will be more easier to form if the habit is easy,
mm,
and how to make the habits as easy as possible, and why is a standard. And I think one of the point is about the frictions, and
mm,
this this reading section, and the author keep mentioning about one term, which is the frictions.
mm,
And to make the habits as easy as possible, it doesn't mean that to do an easy thing.
mm,
It,
mm,
and it could just reduce the frictions. For
yeah.
example, one example in this reading section is if you decided to go to the gyms to do exercise, and then if your gym room is on the way you back home from office, and it's more likely for you to form a habit. Like
Mm,
if even just this is a few blocks away from from the way on your home, so you need to like turn into another street, and then to go to the gym room, and after you finishing your exercise, you need to turn into the main street
mm,
and go back to your homes. Maybe it's just a few minutes, maybe just 10 minutes, additional 10 minutes, but it actually increase the friction. It actually increase the friction for you to do exercise. And then what
mm,
can you do is try to reduce the friction. And because of we know the law of physics, frictions is always exists.
yep.
We couldn't make it zero, because everything has a friction. So we try to reduce it as much as possible.
Mm,
Mm. Yeah, this is one of the way to make the habits as easy as possible.
mm, yep. And then I like the example of the hose, right? They say we hold the water hose.
Right. Mm.
Mm, yep.
Yeah. And about the environment design,
Mm,
I think it also could be linked to the fictions. If we design our environments and make the habits more easier. For example,
mm,
uh, yeah, few months ago, I actually finished my vitamin, my multivitamin, and
oh,
then my mom sent me two bottle, two bottle in January.
mm,
Yeah, but I I didn't start to eat until last week or 2 weeks ago.
oh,
And what made me start to eat, and what made me didn't uh still still di- still didn't finish
mm,
after a few months, because I put in the drawer. Yeah, two
mm,
bottle of this multivitamins is in the drawer,
yeah.
and I realized it, and then I looked at the expired date. Oh, this is July
Still low.
20, July 2022. Yeah, now I'm looking. Yeah, at that time I feel, yeah, it's yeah, it is long.
Mm,
But actually I know I need to start to eat.
mm,
Because otherwise, mm, yeah, this two bottle is not for me to put in the drawer. It's
mm,
for me to eat. Mm.
yeah.
And then, yeah, and the expired date is July 2022. And then if I start now, I still can finish. And then what I do, I take out one bottle and put
Mm.
on my table.
Okay.
So every time when I need to go to work, and
Mm.
then I will pick up my things, my wallet, my phone, my watch, mm, and then I will look at, I will see the bottle. I'll see a bottle so that I will eat. Mm.
Mm.
So this habit actually, it's just a cue, yeah, because I make it more obvious. But
Yeah.
it actually also can link to this, make the habit as easy as possible. Because initially, if the bottle is in the drawer, and every time I need to eat the eat the multivitamins,
Mm.
I need to first step I need to take out the bottle from the drawer, and then I need to eat, and then I need to put back the bottle into the drawer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then but now I just need to immediately I can pick up the bottle on the table, and then I just eat, and then I leave it on the table.
Mm.
So the habit becomes shorter. So the habit becomes easier.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
also it also of course the main reason is about the queue. Mm, the
Yep.
main reason is about the queue. Yeah, but
Mm.
here we also can see how these frictions can be reduced.
Yep.
And in previous reading sections, and this author also have similar similar example, which is one of the example is put the book on your pillow.
Mm.
So after you come back from home, after you need to sleep, and then you
Yeah.
realize, oh, there's a book on your pillow. So you
Mm.
couldn't sleep now. You need to pick up the book and read at least 1 or 2 pages before sleep. Mm.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's also the habits. It's
Mm.
also kind of like make it as easy as possible. And
Yep.
another example is this author buy a lot of fruit, and then it puts inside the chiller or the
Mm.
freezer. Yeah. So and then after few days, and the fruit spoiled,
Mm.
and the author buy the fruit, but the fruit spoiled, but the fruit spoiled. So it's waste of money,
Yeah.
and then the author think another way, and then after they bought the fruit, and then he put it on the table. So every time when when he saw the fruit, and then he'll pick one and then wash and eat.
Mm.
So it also reduce the friction.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so this is my summary.
Really, yeah, for me, this really works, because just a simple things actually helps a lot to for us to do that things. For example, if say the fruit example, let's say it's an apple. If I put it on the table, yeah, it increase the chance that I see it, and then I will eat it. And also, yeah, for me, I think maybe I will try to put also the knife beside the apples. Yeah, because
Mm,
I'm kind of a lazy person. And yeah, if I saw that, and that is easy because I can just grab the apple and then the knife, and then to cut the peel, and then I can eat it. Yeah,
mm,
so I also like this kind of design. And for me, I have another example. It is not the vitamin, it is the water. Yeah, previously, if I didn't uh, put my water bottle on my desk, which is my working desk, I found that if I didn't do that, maybe the whole days I drink just very little water in that day, maybe just 500 uh, mLs, or even less.
mm,
Yeah, because I need to go downstairs to take my cups or my glass, and
mm,
then to drink the water. So that is very troublesome. Yeah, if I have the water bottle on my desk, I can drink it very easily.
mm,
Yeah, I really like these kind of things, and we should never underestimate uh, uh, the, 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 the friction for every action.
Mm. And also, how this link to the frequency. And you see, if the
Mm,
friction reduce,
yeah.
and we can, and let's say you do 100 times of these habits, or you do 1,000 times of these habits,
Mm,
and
yeah.
extra frictions add up together will become a big friction. And if you remove a little bit frictions, and then after you done 100 times, 1,000 times, and then the friction you have reduced is a lot. So it
Mm,
also increase the likelihood that you can like hit up the frequency. You
yeah.
can you can let the frequency goes up instead of go down.
Mm, yeah, exactly.
And yeah, and for example, just now you talk about a water bottle,
Mm,
and it, it may not be the case for some people, but it is for the case. This is the case for some people because they want to form a habit to drink more water.
yeah.
And maybe in the past they just drink the soft drink,
Mm-mm,
and then they don't drink the pure water or the mineral
yeah.
water. And then they kind of like want to form the habit of drinking more mineral water. And
Mm,
how they can do? They need to fill the mineral water into a bottle, maybe a big bottle, and then put in front of their eyes.
mm,
So every time they see it, and then it increase the chance for them to drink the water.
mm,
Initially, it's a cue, make the job, and then you make it obvious, so you can drink the water. And then, but when the frequency goes up, yeah, and because every time you just need to grab your water bottle on the table, you don't need to like open your bag or go to the drawer or go to
mm,
downstairs to take a cup of water or drink. Yeah. So when the frequency pick up as soon as possible and the frequency increase, it also will make it more easier for you to do the habit next time.
mm,
So this is also the point you mentioned just now.
yeah.
It's a frequency matter, but not the time matter.
Mm,
So as more you do the habit, as it will be more easier for you to do next time.
yeah.
Mm. Okay, so anything else?
Um, yeah, no.
Okay, so that's all for our today conversations. How do you feel? Did you enjoy the conversations? Please tell us what you think of our conversations. And we are not native speakers. If you found any vocabulary mistake that we made, please also comment to let us know. Because we want to learn more and improve ourselves. Remember to like and subscribe to us. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.